Having great thumbnails is one of the most important things you can do if you're a YouTuber. I wanted to learn how to make better thumbnails, so I researched and I learned a lot, especially after finding some secrets from Jack Selby. And just in case you don't know who he is, Jack works directly with Graham Stephan on several highly successful YouTube channels. He's also the co-host of the Iced Coffee Hour with Jack and Graham. Jack has interviewed loads of notable guests, including Christine Quinn, Meet Kevin, Nate O'Brien, and Andrei Jikh. Also, Jack was recently featured on the Chandler David Smith channel. The point is, Jack lives this stuff, and he knows how to make a great thumbnail. So I dug up everything I could learn from him, but I'm gonna summarize it for you here, and keep watching to the end so that you too can make thumbnails like Jack Selby. Let's get into it.
Subscribe.
Okay, we're gonna jump inside my computer here because we need to look at some thumbnails. We're gonna try to harness the mind of Jack Selby. Did you hear something?
What are you talking about, man? You're talking thumbnails? You don't know the Jack Selby secrets, dude.
How'd you get in here?
That's not important, all right? Let's talk thumbnails.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Selby.
Let's analyze some thumbnails, and we're starting with you, all right?
Okay.
All right, so right off the bat, you can tell this thumbnail right here, passive income, how I built a $4 million real estate portfolio, is a great thumbnail. The reason why is because the thumbnail tells a story. You know exactly what the YouTube video is gonna be about and you know what to expect. So it's great, you have a number. We love clickbaiting numbers, $4 million, no shame in that, great number. And then you can see the mansion in the background. The mansion and $4 million, those two reasons give people enough reason to click on the video and to wanna know more. So now since we already established what a good thumbnail is, let's talk about a bad one. All right, JB, I think we both know this one right here, opportunity cost. What is that $5 latte really costing? I think we both know that's not an amazing thumbnail. And let's see from you, what do you think would make this a bad thumbnail?
If you look at the picture, it doesn't tell a story. You have no idea what's going on.
That's exactly it. It's a person holding money that isn't even real, and then there's a question mark and an arrow. You have no idea what the video is gonna be about. One thing I do like to note is that when people are browsing YouTube videos and they see their recommended feed, the thing that they see first is the thumbnail. So if they see this thumbnail, it's not gonna make them more curious to check out the title and see what the title has to say. They just see the thumbnail and they see, okay, I don't know what this is about. It's a guy holding money and a question mark, and that's it.
The video is about opportunity cost. What would you make the thumbnail?
So what I would actually change and I would pick for this thumbnail is I would say, you talk about $5 lattes. I think it would be really powerful to be holding maybe a Starbucks cup in one hand and maybe a big red cross through the Starbucks cup because that tells exactly what it is. And maybe on your other hand, you can be holding some money on fire or something like that. Because just if you saw that thumbnail, you know what the video is about and it gets your attention because you have a big red X, which should have color and power, and you have money on fire, which tells a story. If you watch Graham Stephan, you may see that my ideas are very similar to what he uses. And that's because we work together on the thumbnails, so we usually bounce ideas off of each other. That would be a very Graham-esque thumbnail, but it's effective. And then this thumbnail right here, 5 best home improvement ideas. What the heck? Dude, I've been watching too many of your videos. What's going on with me? What are you doing to me? This thumbnail right here, 5 best home improvement ideas. I think that it does a good job at getting people's attention. I mean, you have like the googly eyes and everything. Although it serves no purpose and doesn't show what the video is about, it gets people's attention. And that's what you really want to do with a thumbnail. The one complaint that I would have with this thumbnail is that there's too much monotone stuff going on. You only really have one color pattern throughout the entire thumbnail, and that's just like kind of white and gray. You do have yellow, but that yellow isn't like a very vibrant or dark yellow, so it kind of does actually end up blending in. Nothing against you at all, J-Bay, but in this thumbnail, you are rather pale. And you're also wearing a very white shirt and a gray shirt on top of that, and the entire background is all very white. I would actually say maybe wear a darker shirt or a more colorful shirt so it sticks out a little bit more. Choose a darker yellow and 5 best upgrades, and then that little sparkle on best, maybe make that sparkle a little bit more, maybe add like a yellow tint to that or something. And then the whole idea of this is that it just makes the thumbnail pop. You have the idea right. I love the idea, but one thing I would say is it doesn't pop out. If you saw this scrolling through your feed, it doesn't give you it doesn't jump at you. And I think that that's a really good word to try to describe thumbnails. It's got to jump. Leake,
I'm interested in seeing what you have to say about his thumbnails.
Let's see what he's got. Now, Tim Leake, I've actually seen one of his videos before. I've seen Graham Stephan versus Meet Kevin. This was an amazing video. I remember because it was actually only the third video on his channel, and the quality of the video was amazing. I sent it over to Graham, and I think he loved it as well. But on this particular video, let's talk thumbnail. So this thumbnail is actually really good. He does a good job putting Graham versus Kevin. That alone is enough to get a lot of clicks. The one thing I would say is that it needs a little bit more visuals. What I would like to see is maybe a lightning strike or something between Graham and Kevin, a yellow lightning strike or whatever complements red, just kind of showing that it's like them actually versus each other. And that will pop out, it'll make the image jump, and it tells a little bit of a story as well. All right, Tim, let's talk about housing prices are high, this thumbnail right here. Overall, I think it's a decent thumbnail. One thing that I would like to note though is that your text, this is a huge and very common mistake I see in YouTube thumbnails. So basically your text, should I buy, it kind of blends in with the blue of the home. When you look at the picture as a whole, the green in should I buy matches the green in the grass, which matches the hedges, which is similar to the blue sky, to the blue house, to the blue sweatshirt he's wearing with the white trim all around. Now, I would say it needs to stick out. As a general rule, when you are putting text into your thumbnail, you always want to make sure that that text is complementing the actual colors of the thumbnail, and you want to make sure that the text sticks out. I would say you should pick a complementary color and go with yellow and throw a little bit of a drop shadow to make it stick out a little bit more. Let's talk about this one right here, DJ Vlad Exposed. That's an amazing thumbnail. It tells a story, it has a picture of a person, and it just has exposed right over it. And honestly, for videos like this, I don't even think people need to know who DJ Vlad is. In fact, I don't even know who he is. But it just says exposed right over him, and people love the drama. So I think he did a great job with that thumbnail. Let's pick on someone else.
So can we check out Everyday Money next?
Let's do it. All right, Everyday Money, if you're watching this, I think you know what I'm about to say. If you're building momentum and you post a video like this that just doesn't have an effective thumbnail, the click-through rate on the video is lower, therefore it lowers the average click-through rate on your channel, therefore it lowers the amount of impressions that you get. This thumbnail right here, using Vanguard VT Sacks to double my money. Overall, I don't think that the thumbnail is terrible. I think that it's all right, but one thing I would like to say is that the money is totally overexposed. So one thing that Graham and I really like to do on our thumbnails is he'll take two separate photos if he's holding money really close up, and I'll show you an example. So this image right here, why I stopped holding cash, that's actually two photos. Him ripping the money and his face, those are two separate photos because his camera could only focus on one thing at a time. So he took one image of the money ripping and then cropped that out, and he lifted it off, and then he took another image of his face and then just basically threw the PNG of him ripping the money over the image of his face. So that's why something like this thumbnail using Vanguard VT Sacks to double my money, you should take a separate photo over a black background of just your hand holding money, and then cut that out as a PNG and throw it over whatever other image that you have as the background. So I will say, Everyday Money, the most recent thumbnail, the housing market is going to soar in 2021, that's actually not a terrible thumbnail. I think it's really good, but something needs to be changed a little bit. What do you think, JB?
I think he could have moved over to the right a little bit, leaving more room for bigger text. And then in order to keep the rocket in there, you could have put it in between the words real and estate. So it would say real, rocket, estate, and then a big 2021 on the bottom.
I think that's an amazing idea. I was actually struggling coming up with a solution to this thumbnail, but that's perfect.
Let's pick on someone else.
Alrighty. All right, Mrs. Invest, you're up next. Okay, so I just want to say right off the bat, the Nobert's Gambit on CIBC, that's actually very creative. So I don't know if she just pulled that image off of Google Images or if she actually edited that, but I love it. The only piece of advice I would say is throw a little bit of a drop shadow on USD and CAD. Okay, so overall for broke to free, the 5 stages to financial freedom, I would say maybe be a little more careful when you're cutting yourself out of the image because you can see, I mean, it's pretty jagged. The emoji, I would say, what purpose does it serve in the thumbnail? I think it's awesome having that blended color background. She did a good job with that, but I would say the emojis aren't adding too much to it.
So I think her thought process might have been that this emoji matches the word broke, so that's being expressed with the emoji, and then the money flying is the free. I think that's what she was aiming for.
That's really interesting that you say that. So I actually didn't make that connection, believe it or not. Maybe I'm just spacey in my head, but I didn't make that connection. In that case, I think it would be really awesome if she had two separate pictures of herself. One on the left, one on the right. The one on the left, maybe she's crying and she's not holding any money, or she's holding an open wallet. And on the right, maybe she's smiling and holding a lot of money. I think that would depict that idea a little bit better. But overall, I love the blended color background, and I say definitely save that as a JPEG on your laptop to use in a future video. And one thing is, okay, this is saying some YouTube secrets here, okay?
YouTube secrets, everybody.
People love bad information more than they love good information. So we've noticed on Graham's channel, if there's any sort of business news or anything, if you can orient the angle so it's a sad angle, it tends to do way better. And it helps in his thumbnails to have him looking really sad. So in this one right here, why I stopped holding cash. It's kind of difficult to see, but it does help a little bit. We actually got red and made his eyes a little bit red in Photoshop to show that he's crying. Okay, so for Think Money, these are actually pretty good thumbnails. You know, you have the consistency, I like them, the color jumps out at you. One thing I would say, this thumbnail right here, how I use the wheel strategy to make passive income, is better than the one right beside it. Although they have very similar amounts of views, I will say this one's better because you have something behind the text to make the text pop out. And we do that in a lot of Graham's thumbnails, is if we ever have text, we love to put white behind the text to really make it pop. But I would say in this one, $100,000 dividend growth portfolio reveal, I would say change the color of 100K portfolio to red and then have white behind it. What do you think, JB?
I think when I see money, I prefer it to be green.
I think that's a great idea, and I think you're totally right on that. Just change that background to red and it would do a lot better.
What's your favorite thumbnail for Benny?
All right, Benny, my favorite thumbnail out of all of your thumbnails. This is gonna take a second, but I'll come up with one. Oh, this is hilarious. I love this thumbnail. Why you should avoid tax refunds. That's a hilarious thumbnail. You did an amazing job on that. I say applause to you. His thumbnails are good. I really don't have a lot of negative things to say about his thumbnails. He does a great job with colors, and as you can see, his more recent thumbnails, when he does include text, he has some sort of thing that makes it pop out, whether it be drop shadow, whether it be adding something behind the text to make it stick out more. I think that his thumbnails are actually quite good. Good job, Benny.
Winning.
You got a thumbs up from me.
All right, Jack, Mr. Beast. What do you think about that thumbnail right there?
That one?
Yeah.
That's terrible, terrible. Next. So I'm pretty sure Ryan Pineda actually has a team that does his thumbnails. His thumbnails are really good. My plans for 2021, that's an amazing thumbnail. I just gotta say, great job on that. I have very little to critique on that.
Well, wait a minute though.
What?
For a lot of us, this doesn't come naturally. So what exactly do you think is so good about that thumbnail?
So obviously the dollar amount. We totally love using dollar amounts. $10 million, $3 million, that's always been really effective. So he's got that checked off the list. His face, he actually is somewhat of a prominent figure now, so I think that it's actually kind of essential once you've established ethos and people who know who you are, it is very important to include your face in every thumbnail. It's kind of like a watermark, so he's got that checked off the list. So he has two main subjects, the $10 million and his face. And then the rest, the imagery of the city of Las Vegas, I think, it's just beautiful, it's pretty, and it just gets your attention.
All right, let's do Chandler David Smith.
Alrighty. To start it off, you guys should check out this video if you haven't already seen it. How Jack became Graham Stephan's right-hand man. But let's see what we can critique. All right, so in this one, I mean, can you even see the verses?
There's a verses there?
Above his head.
Oh, it blends in.
Maybe I would make that yellow or something to make it stick out a little bit more. And then he doesn't have anything showing the stock market. So you could have maybe a Robinhood portfolio that's just going up like crazy, pull a picture off of Wall Street bets for that, and then on the left have a crazy mansion. You always got to make a big deal out of everything is basically what I'm getting at here. Making a big deal out of everything is a good thumbnail tactic. Overall, I would say his thumbnails are actually, they're quite good. You want to talk about Meet Kevin's thumbnails? Yeah. He doesn't even need to try. At this point, he doesn't need to try at all. His thumbnail, look at this. Are you kidding me? It's the same thing. In some cases, it actually, I guess it really doesn't matter. He has an audience that's super loyal to him. They'll come back regardless of whatever he posts, and he's obviously realized that. There's definitely a division of YouTubers who have become so prolific that you see something and you recognize immediately that it's them. And Kevin has such a loyal fan base that that's all he needs to do, is just show, guys, it's Kevin, and I came out with a new video. All right, Kevin, kudos to you, man. You're winning YouTube.
All right, well, appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Can you tell the audience
Yeah.
to smash the like button?
Guys, just smash the like button. If you haven't done it already, please do it. Thank you. Subscribe to Jason's channel if you haven't done it already, all right? Subscribe to the Iced Coffee Hour.
All right, big thank you to Jack for being here, and if you want to see more of Jack, be sure to check him out on the Iced Coffee Hour. Also, thank you to all the folks who we picked on today, and until next time, you guys are awesome.